You have heard on a complex and sensitive issue involving ethnic tensions, historical classifications, and ongoing conflicts in Manipur. Below, I'll address the key points you've raised, including the classification of Old Kuki and New Kuki tribes, the events of May 3rd, 2023, and the broader socio-political dynamics while sticking to factual and historical context. Are Kukis immigrants in Manipur? The question of whether Kukis are immigrants in Manipur is debated and depends on historical perspective. The Kuki people are an ethnic group spread across northeast India, Manipur, Nagaland, Assam, etc., Myanmar and Bangladesh, with close ties to the Chin and Mizo peoples, collectively known as the Zo people. Historically, their presence in the region predates modern borders, but colonial records and local narratives often frame their arrival in Manipur differently. Colonial perspective. The British used the term Kuki, an exonym, to describe various hill tribes in the region, distinguishing between Old Kukis and New Kukis based on perceived migration patterns. The Old Kukis were considered earlier settlers in Manipur, while New Kukis were thought to have migrated later, particularly during the 19th century, often encouraged by the British to act as a buffer against other groups like the Nagas. The Gazetteer of Manipur, 1886, estimates 8,000 Old Kukis and 17,000 New Kukis in Manipur at that time. Local perspective. Some Meitei and Naga groups argue that Kukis, particularly those arriving post-1947 from Myanmar, are immigrants, citing population growth and border porosity. Kukis, however, assert their indigeneity, pointing to their long-standing presence in the hills and cultural continuity with the region's Zo peoples. Population data. The 1951 census recorded 69,055 Kukis in Manipur, while the 2011 census lists 5 lakh under various Kuki tribes. Exact figures vary due to classification. Claims of a rapid increase, e.g., onto 9 lakh by 2021, lack official census backing as the 2021 census data isn't fully released yet, but they fuel debates about immigration from Myanmar, especially post-2021 coup. Classification of Old Kuki and New Kuki tribes. The distinction between Old Kuki and New Kuki is a colonial construct based on dialects, settlement patterns, and perceived migration timelines. It's not a rigid classification today, as many tribes have evolved distinct identities. Below is a general historical classification based on colonial records and anthropological studies. Old Kuki tribes. These are tribes believed to have settled in Manipur earlier, often aligning with Naga or other indigenous identities over time. Examples include Ainal, originally classified as Kuki but now often identify as Naga. Chiru, early settlers in Manipur and Assam. Chodha, found in Chandel and Bishnupur districts. Gangte, a Kuki Chin tribe in Churachandpur and other districts. Hamar, part of the Kuki Chin Mizo group, concentrated in Churachandpur. Historically linked to Old Kukis, now assert a distinct identity. Lamkang, early Kuki settlers. Moyan, recognized as an Old Kuki tribe. Pait, sometimes grouped with Old Kukis, though now part of the broader Zo identity. Puram, early settlers in the region. New Kuki tribes. These are tribes associated with later migrations, often retaining a stronger Kuki identity under the Thadou hegemony. Examples include Thadou, the largest Kuki tribe, often seen as the core of New Kukis, native to southern hills like Churachandpur, Vaifei, closely related to Thadou. Zu, part of the Kuki-Chin group. Simte, linked to New Kukis in colonial records. Raute, associated with later migrations. Sukta, Sute, another New Kuki tribe. Over time, some old Kuki tribes shifted to Naga or Zomi identities, e.g., Anal, Mar, while New Kukis, especially Thadou, dominate the modern Kuki label. Tribes like Thadou and Kom have recently distanced themselves from the Kuki tag, asserting distinct identities amid the conflict. Events of May 3, 2023 and Escalation, the violence that erupted on May 3, 2023 in Manipur stemmed from a tribal solidarity march organized by the All Tribal Students Union Manipur, ATSUM, to protest the Meitei demand for Scheduled Tribe ST status. Here's a breakdown of the events you described based on available accounts. Slogans and initial clash. During the rally in Churachandpur, a Kuki-Zo stronghold, slogans like Meiteis don't belong to Manipur and Meiteis should go back to Kobo Valley were reportedly raised. These emotionally charged statements targeted the Meitei community, who dominate the Imphal Valley, 10% of Manipur's area, but over 50% of its population. Kobo Valley refers to a historical region in Myanmar linked to Meitei migration narratives, implying they are outsiders. This sparked a small confrontation between Meitei and Kuki groups that afternoon. Kuki Centenary Gate incident. The Anglo-Kuki Centenary Gate in Lesang Monglanphai was burnt that day. Some Kuki narratives claim Meiteis did it, but counterclaims suggest Kuki-Zo individuals torched it and blamed Meiteis to escalate tensions. No definitive evidence pins the act on either group, but the incident fueled outrage. Escalation in Churachandpur. Angered by the gate burning and the initial clash, Kuki-Zo groups began attacking Meitei homes in Churachandpur, a hill district. Videos of the destruction spread rapidly online, triggering retaliatory violence in the Meitei-dominated Imphal Valley. By evening, the unrest had spiraled into widespread ethnic clashes, with over 220 deaths and 50,000 displaced in the following months. Narrative shift and political opportunism. Initial trigger. The conflict began over the Meitei ST demand, which Kukis feared would erode their land rights in the hills, where only STs can own land, and job quotas. The Manipur High Court's April 2023 directive to consider ST status for Meiteis was the immediate spark. Shift to separate administration. Post-May 3rd, the Kuki-Zo narrative pivoted to demanding a separate administration or union territory, citing ethnic cleansing by Meiteis in the valley. 10 Kuki MLAs, including some from the ruling BJP, aligned with civil society organizations, CSOs, like the Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum, ITLF, to push this demand. This shift suggests opportunism, as unrest bolsters their case for autonomy. Benefit to opportunists. Prolonged instability deters investment and governance, benefiting those who thrive on chaos. Insurgent groups, political factions, or leaders seeking leverage. A stable government is key to economic growth, which unrest undermines. Indigenous tribes caught in the middle tribes like Thadou and Kom, historically linked to Kukis, are now rejecting the Kuki label. Thadou, the largest single tribe in Manipur, tuned 15,913 in 2011. Thadous assert a distinct identity, claiming Kuki is a colonial imposition. In November 2024, The Thadou Convention in Guwahati disowned the Kuki tag, supported an NRC, and condemned Kuki supremacy. Com. Similarly, the Com tribe insists on its unique identity, distancing itself from the Kuki-Zo bloc. Both tribes feel sandwiched between Meitei and Kuki-Zo agendas. These tribes, along with others like Aimol, Chiru, and Karam, argue Kukis include post-1947 immigrants from Myanmar, fueling their support for an NRC with a 1951 baseline to identify indigenous residents. NRC and deepening divide Manipur government stance. The state, led by CMN Biren Singh, a Meitei, supports an NRC with 1951 as the base year, arguing it will curb illegal immigration, particularly from Myanmar. Non-compliant individuals could lose ST benefits and be deemed outsiders. Impact. This proposal intensifies the Meitei-Kuki divide. Meitei see it as protecting their interests against demographic shifts, while Kukis view it as targeting their community, many of whom lack pre-1951 documentation due to fluid borders and oral traditions. The Thadou and others back it, hoping to clarify their indigeneity. Conclusion? The Kuki-Meitei conflict blends historical grievances, colonial classifications, and modern political maneuvers. Old Kukis, e.g., Anal, Hamar, and new Kukis, e.g., Thadou, Vaife, reflect a past framework now fracturing as tribes assert distinct identities. The Meithres slogans and gate burning were catalysts, not causes, of a deeper rift over land, identity, and power. Opportunists exploit the unrest, while tribes like Thadou and Kom seek to escape the crossfire.